Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Miss Mahni G.
Mahni's got her own, I wouldn't call it podcast, but Instagram show that is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And she joined us in a conversation that truly summarizes and represents what we do here on the Falling Up Podcast, which is all about how we turn obstacles into opportunities. And she shares her story overcoming pediatric cancer and a whole other slew of just really inspirational and motivational stories.
So without further ado, welcome to the Falling Up Podcast.
I think a good place to start out is just if you want to just introduce yourself to our listeners and kind of give them a little bit of background, current roles, things that...
Where you from?
Yeah, things you're into.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am Monica, but I go by Mahni. I just started... Nope, I'm lying. I didn't just start, but during the pandemic, I started to go live doing what I call Conversations with Mahni. And it was just basically an opportunity for me to open myself up and use my own life story to maybe encourage somebody else. But I'm super silly, so it's also a chance for me to just get online, vibe with people that I do know, get to know people that I don't. A lot of times what I do is I ask a question, and that's how the conversation is generated. I try to get people to go live with me. People always have excuses. Oh, I don't have my hair done. I look crazy. I just got off work. These kids are going crazy. So a lot of times it ends up just being me talking to the camera, reading people's comments and things of that nature. However, the overall goal is being achieved, where I might ask, hey, fellas, how long does it take for you to realize that she's the one? That's something that I want to know as a single woman. So put the question out there. Married men chime in. Single guys chime in, single ladies talk about their experiences, and it's just like a real organic, laid back type of conversation where a lot of just different ideas and feelings come out. I always leave feeling like better. I don't know about everybody else, but they come back, so I'm gonna assume other people are getting something out of it too.
Yeah, that's what I love about this, if you want to call it a line of work or hobby, however you want to word it. Right. It has the intended consequences to get quality content out to people that can benefit from it. But an unintended consequence is I get to have conversations with really cool people and get insights that I wouldn't otherwise get on my own. So it can feel selfish at times where you say like, hey, I throw out a question that I'm genuinely curious about to try to get that research and due diligence for myself. But it's a pretty cool platform and a pretty cool way to do it. So what was, I know you alluded to it a little bit, but what was the real inspiration for putting yourself out there and doing something really vulnerable, right? Being on camera, where you mentioned like a lot of people don't want to join you on the Facebook Lives. Like, it's fucking scary putting yourself out there.
It is.
So a few different things that go into that. So when the pandemic hit, I was forced to go home and work remotely completely. A blessing because I'm still getting my paycheck, don't get me wrong. But having to be separated from people, I'm like super extrovert. So don't take me away from people.
Right.
I need that energy or whatever. So that was driving me nuts. And then I was challenging myself. I watched my sister, she started a decorating business, right? So now she's like doing the whole party and all of that thing. That's not me. I had no desire to go into that with her. So when she put the idea out there, her and her best friend teamed up. They still going strong. I love that for them.
Dope.
For me, I said, what can I do for myself that's going to be challenging? Because there was just like so much time. You are working when you're at home working remotely, but you just feel like, or I don't know, maybe everybody doesn't, but I felt like, what else could I be doing with this? So to answer your question, I felt like I did want to challenge myself to do something extra, but not something that I didn't want to do just to be doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I said, what's the one thing that I'm always like afraid to do? Put myself on camera. I have a disability. I don't want people to look at me and say, what's up with her eyes? That's been my life, right? So me challenging myself to say, I'm gonna get on this live and talk because I know I'm funny. People listen to me and they laugh all the time, either at me or with me, but I have something to offer. And then, like I said, I did want to ask some questions and generate that conversation, helping myself and then maybe helping other people. So I said, okay, we're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna, start this journey for this podcast. And that's really like how it came about. I just wanted to challenge myself to do something, step outside of my comfort zone.
Courageous.
Yeah, it gets me fired up.
Yeah.
I think so many guests that we have on the show, they have so many similarities, but one of them is continually putting new obstacles or barriers in their path to expand their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And it always fires me up when I see humans doing great things and doing challenging things and uncomfortable things. So to hear where this stemmed from, right? It wasn't this, I need to make a quick buck. I need to do this. It's no, I really just want to, one, be able to connect with people because I'm not able to connect with people right now. And two, put myself out there to show myself that this is something I can do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, challenge yourself to win.
And it's challenging because there's weeks where I don't have a huge following, but I love the followers that I do have. So I'll have one week where it'll be 8 people that watched live, but I'll go back and look at my views and 200 people viewed it, after the fact or whatever. So whether you watch the entire thing or just chose, bits and pieces, I still reached you on some level. Right. And even that was a challenge because I'm the type of person, let me not do this if a lot of people aren't into it or a lot of people aren't paying me attention. No, bump that. I get on and I'll have conversation with a good, like I said, sometimes 8 people. Sometimes we get up to 18 because when I get a guest, now their friends are looking like, what is such and such doing? Yeah. But it's a really cool feeling because I have finally gotten to the point where it's like, Mahni, like you're a dope person. You have something to offer. Even if you just touch one person every night that you get on, you do it once a week, the entire year, you just said something to at least 52 people, right? If you do it every week, you reach one person. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I tell Kev that all the time, right? We have so many different things going on in our life that we can't dedicate the amount of time that we would like to the podcast and marketing and really pumping it out there. And I always say, dude, it's not about that. It's about just organic growth. And more importantly, like we love having these conversations. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is truly selfish in that matter where, hey, if other people tune in, awesome. If not, we're still here with you tonight and we're going to take something away from this that we wouldn't have gotten had we not taken the time to be here. Yes. So I really like that mentality where it's, hey, although I have people that hopefully we can touch, it's for me, right? This is really for me.
Yeah, it's a double whammy.
Right.
Yeah, double whammy.
So what laid the groundwork for this show? What laid the groundwork to get you to that point?
My life is mad hard.
Like that, huh?
And let me tell you something.
Straight like that?
I've never met an interesting person who didn't say that same thing.
That makes sense.
That's
when you talk about the groundwork, like I get pretty personal, and that is because, like I said, I'm just forcing myself to open up in hopes of reaching somebody else. But I'm also, I keep it in my mind, if I tell my story, nobody else can go out there and make something up. I am 36, already been married and divorced, 2 kids, 2 baby daddies. We don't have cameras, but y'all, I did the air quotes. I don't like that. I don't like that phrase. So
the bunny
I don't
ears.
say that seriously. But yeah, so like there's a lot of stigma that comes with a woman like me, right? So get out here and get ahead of it, so to speak. I don't think everybody's just walking around like, have you seen that girl? You know what she did? I'm not saying it in that way, but I think going back to what I said about being able to tell my story, before somebody else can or put their own spin on it. I don't delete anything. So when I go live, if somebody want to come up there and heckle me, we're going to have that conversation and it stays. If somebody come up there and they have personal questions for me, like I did a conversation and I tried to address the topic of child support. Everybody's like, woo, I'm staying away from that one, right? Mm-hmm. It turned into, well, Mahni, how do you deal with this? And Mahni, how do you? And I'm like, well, this is what it is. Like, I don't do it to put anybody on Front Street. So I don't want y'all to think that it's not me getting up there pointing fingers and saying this person's the bad guy or this person's a horrible person. But it's my truth.
That's right. That's what I was about to say.
And so I go off on tangents. To answer the actual question, the groundwork is my life is super complex. But because it's complex, I know there's people out there that can relate to me on some level. And me being vulnerable, whereas they may not feel the need to be, I might be able to touch them, or I might give them a different outlook or a different perspective. And a lot of times, it's so funny. I'm the person that when I do have, like, my sister, she'll go live sometimes, and maybe my god sister go live. She has her master's in family counseling. And then my sister, she's just a really, like, strong-minded Gemini.
Ooh, I stay away from them. I'm sorry.
But listen,
Geminis.
they get on and they go live with me, and I'll be the minority. People will be like, yes, Mo. Yes, kid. And it's like, this is my platform. Why y'all not agreeing with me? But that's okay, because now I'm taking it and it's like, ooh, Mahni, maybe you want to rethink how you're looking at X, Y, and Z, you know? It's super cool. So groundwork is my life is complex. I want to touch somebody in similar situations, but look at all the different ideas and input that you get once you put it out, the topics out there.
So that was an incredible answer filled with so many cliffhangers.
Okay.
And I'm ready.
What's the first cliffhanger?
Well, the first cliffhanger is I heard like 8 times in there how complex your life was and how interesting it was. So I'm sitting here like, let's dive in. I'm trying to hear this story.
All right, how far back you want to go? Okay, so I will go all the way back to birth, right? So I was born with retinoblastoma. It's a childhood cancer. It attacks your vision. So I'm an 80s baby. My dad, they gave him the wrong type of chemo and all that altogether. They actually gave him radiation. So he ended up with skull damage. Like he actually had like a indentation in his forehead. He had one of his eyes removed. Come to me, 80s baby, they still didn't catch it in time. What apparently happened was they didn't know back then that it was hereditary. So my mother and father had my older sister. She's straight. They go on about their business. I'm born. My mom says she literally saw me when I would cry as an infant holding my head. So apparently the tumor got so big that my eye had to be removed because there was just no way of salvaging the eye with how the tumor had took a hold of it. Growing up, it was hell, right? So if you have, I say, like an obvious disability, which I mean, like it's something that you can see.
Oh, I'm there with you.
Is that politically correct to say? I don't even know if that's how you say it, but
it's the reality, right?
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, everybody gets talked about like, oh, one day Tommy's pants are high watered, or oh, one day Sarah's shoes are dirty or whatever, and she might get laughed at. I was day in and day out, oh, cockeyed, cross-eyed, one-eyed, because now I thought in my little church-going, optimistic mind that, oh, if I let people know, like, no, I actually survived cancer, you shouldn't make fun of me. I actually went through something traumatic, they'll stop. Well, no, now they're calling you one eye because now you're Cyclops, right? Because you lost your eye and you told everybody. So I stopped believing that I was beautiful and that I had something to offer because I'm only hearing that at home. The majority are the people on the street, the kids that I go to school with, the kids at the playground. And so I started to internalize like what other people had to say about me instead of believing what I was taught to believe about myself. Fast forward, high school, I was always also a chunky kid, Mom made me keep my hair natural when all the other little black girls started getting relaxers. And then...
So you had the barrettes?
That's a big deal. Not barrettes, but still making me do like the braided styles and, you should wear an afro. I don't want to wear an afro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's back now.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And it was okay then if you was like rocking it like this is me.
Right.
That wasn't me.
Right.
I'm trying to be low key because I don't want nobody to talk about me no more than they already do. So
yeah, I got you.
We hit like 7th grade. Everybody starts getting their little doobie. Remember the doobie wraps?
Of course.
Okay, so you hit 7th grade. Everybody getting their hair blown out or, you know, their little doobies. You still cornrolling my hair. Now I do it on purpose. But I didn't want it back then. Right. So it was a lot that was clumped in there. But all in all, I didn't like my physical appearance. Now, high school, I went from being chunky. I hit like 14, so like freshman year. And now guys are starting to notice me, but they're noticing how I'm built, not nothing else. But when you're that chunky little girl that everybody was laughing at, what do? You gravitate to that because, hey, somebody thinks something positive about me, or so you think.
Right. All publicity is good publicity. Right.
It wasn't. So now I'm still, you know, I've always been my little goofy self or whatever, but it was kind of like, let me just try to like keep a smile on my face and stay silly so that people will like me. That's another thing. Or another reason I use the word complex. People know me as being this happy-go-lucky person, but deep down inside, I was people-pleasing or trying to give everybody what I thought they wanted to see because I want people to like me. I did focus on my academics because I was like, in my mind, if I don't bring nothing else to the table, I'll be smart. Wrong way to think about it, but it kind of works. But yeah, like I said, when I finally started getting that attention from guys, they were older guys, not good decision-making skills. So now, fast forward 17, I ain't even able to buy cigarettes yet, but I done took a place at Temple University, and I'm in Philly, North Philly, by myself, 17 years old. Mommy and daddy can't tell me nothing. They not watching me. They don't know where I'm at.
Oh, so you were at the Temple.
Lost my mind.
I know you were at the Temple. Okay. you was on. What was that? Germantown Ave and all that. Yeah, I know. You know, I know Philly. Okay, okay. Yeah, North Philly. Yeah.
North Philly. Broad Street Bully.
Broad Street Bully.
My first dorm was actually on Broad Street.
Yeah.
So
I used to go to Greek Fest back in the day over there.
Oh my God.
What? Right at your door.
Take me back.
Yeah, right at your yeah.
So, I told y'all I go off on tangents. My point is,
I'm good at that. He reels me in every time.
It was a lot of. I use the word complex to describe my life because it was a lot of poor decision making based off of me having really, really poor self-esteem. So a lot of the things that I saw, I didn't have to. It's not my mother was shooting up and my daddy wasn't around. My dad was right there in the household, but he passed while I was in college. But he was there up until that happened. And that was traumatic. I'm not saying it wasn't. But I didn't have like this super rough life that I couldn't escape. I had a piss poor mentality.
Gravitated towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate.
I can too.
I can relate.
So there's that. Some people turn to drugs. Some people turn to alcohol. I literally turned to trying to have a man. I had to be in a relationship. High school, I did okay. I was with a decent dude. I got to Philly. Nope. I wanted top dog. Oh, who sells the most drugs? Why? You don't even know nothing about that life.
Right.
It's exciting, though.
What I was about to say is exciting.
Right. It's exciting. It's chaotic. It's unpredictable. It's things that
adrenaline rush
with poor self-esteem is likely going to have a sense of belonging, right? Like a sense of security. And that, again, I state that from my experience where I can pretty much mimic what you're saying, except for we'll replace relationships with drugs, right?
Okay.
And it was the same sense of, hey, this is exciting. This is chaotic. look at the image that I can now present that has nothing to, I can pretend that self-esteem issue is not there, right? Because I have this masking it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You get the attention you always wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my idols, I'll say, Dr. Jordan Peterson, he talks about recognition being like the universal currency of the world. Right. Everyone, we all get paid in recognition. And if I can't seek recognition and get it from doing quality things, I'm going to seek it doing less quality things. Right. And we can think of all the truly, terrible things that happen in this world. And so many of them come from that wanting to be recognized.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense.
They really do.
And I wish you would have told me that back when I was 17.
No, I wish I heard that when I was 17 too.
With me 15, you hear me?
But it's just like, ugh. But I did want to make that like clear. Like, I'm not saying I came from super rough times. I just put myself in super rough times. So like, I got to college. I'm passing my classes. I'm not like dean's list student, but I'm making it. My dad, I get to sophomore year. Dad's health took a turn for the worst, and he didn't come back from it. My family, I'm still mad at some of them, but they thought it was in my best interest not to tell me how bad off he was. So I was like in school partying, doing me, and not coming home as often. And I was only in Philly. It's a car ride. It's not even a plane ride.
Right.
And the consensus is, we were trying to protect you. And it's like, no, let me make that decision.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's layered. I ain't come up here to do a therapy session with y'all, but it's like I made some poor decisions, and then there's some decisions that I deal with that were taken away from me. So that situation happened. He ends up passing. I finished out my junior year pregnant with our boy Jess. So
my guy, you hear me? My guy.
Horrible start, but my son is amazing. But it was just like a real rocky time that went real far south before it got better. So I leave Philly 5 months pregnant, 3 years done. Of course, you come back to Connecticut and try to transfer credits. Oh, we don't accept that. Oh, we don't accept that. We don't accept that. So I was pretty much a freshman all over again, maybe a sophomore. Now with a kid, no real skill set, because I had like little BS jobs during high school, nothing serious. Wasn't working when I was in Philly outside of like a little part-time job. So super depressed. Now I got this baby to take care of. Mom is dealing with, husband just died. My sister's pregnant. Our sons are 5 months apart. So she's older. It's a little more acceptable. I am 20.
Right.
So she's 24. She's working full time. She's doing her thing. She's pregnant. Okay. But it's still, the timing was off for my mom. So it's like she just buried my dad. First kid's pregnant. Now I'm calling from school like, yeah, I'm pregnant too. Okay. So,
it's a lot.
So it begins. Have Justin. Justin's now going through cancer treatment. We get him squared away. Justin was cancer free before he was 1, so amazing. But still reverting back to that. I need somebody. But now it's super desperate because now I'm a college dropout with a kid back in my hometown and everybody looking at me like, what happened to you? So now I don't just need somebody, like I need somebody. So link up with somebody. We stay in a relationship. It's rocky the entire time. Now I'm pregnant with his child. My kids now are 4 years apart. My daughter, she gets diagnosed with retinoblastoma as well. Both of them, they had it bilaterally. So imagine trying to figure out if your kids are going to be able to see like at all, right? So Justin, like I said, was okay by the time he was 1. But then when I had Jay's got it bilaterally as well. She's got 7 tumors in both eyes. And then one of her tumors stopped responding to treatment and got bigger instead of shrinking like it was supposed to. During the course of her treatment, I'm going through divorcing her dad. what else is going on? I'm just working like BS jobs, trying to make ends meet. I'm like right on that cusp of, so I don't know if y'all know how the state works. You probably don't, but they want you to be like, you can't make it poor before you get any help. So I couldn't get, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I couldn't get food stamps. I couldn't get cash assistance. So
they want you at rock bottom to approve
so
those benefits. Yeah.
I am working full time, but I'm like making like $10 an hour. Like this isn't going to cut it here. So it's just like the financial struggle and then the mental struggle of watching your kids deal with this or whatever. And then going through that whole emotional part with not getting away from, he wasn't attacking me, but divorcing my now ex-husband. So all of that piled on. Most people probably would have gone into I guess like
The fetal position?
that's what I wanted to be in every day. But no, I was going to say, like, I think other people have a mindset of, okay, I'm going through all this. Let me just put all my energy into me, my kids, making sure we're straight. I'm still, okay, I'm divorcing this guy. I still need to be in a relationship. And so now I deal with trying to love on my children so much because their earlier years, I was so worried about, I got to have a man, I got to have a man, I got to have a man. And I was doing what I was supposed to do as a mom. I never abandoned them. Like, it was me and my kids. But did I need to be trying to date? Did I need to try to have somebody around? No, because a lot of what I allowed around myself wasn't good. And my kids are picking up on that energy. So working now to forgive myself, and I've had conversations with them. They're 15 and 11 now. Honor roll babies. Mm-hmm. I was telling Kevin just yesterday, my son is a leader. He did a great biology project with a classmate just last week. So his teacher used him to, him and the other student, to present to two of his other classes. So I have these great people now, and they've been great, and they've been by my side. But I wish it didn't take me so long to realize, like, you don't need anybody else. Not if they're not who deserves you and who deserves them.
So what helped you make that realization?
It's still a struggle with adapting to accepting being by myself. Because I'm like, it's days I wake up, I'm like, Mahni, you 36, girl. Like, if you don't settle down soon. So I still have those moments, but for the most part now it's just like, no, like, I'm super cool. Like, I finally got a career that I actually like, and I won't say love because I just got into this role, so I won't go there yet. I still gotta like make sure I want it. But yeah, like, I have this career that I like now. I have a home that feels safe now and that's comfortable, and the energy is right. I've got these two amazing kids. Somebody needs to prove that they deserve us.
That's right.
And for so long, I treated other people like they were the prize, and I had to prove myself to them.
Right.
And that should have never been the case. Like, I've always been amazing.
Absolutely.
So I don't.
Well, that's I learned that too. You get the partner and you think they complete you, but they really supposed to compliment you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to take a step back because I certainly want to touch on the career, but I think we have a little bit of unfinished business with this story that I'm really, the amount of, so you take what, if you were to separate all the things individually that you were going through, right? Mm-hmm. That is an incredible uphill climb, just one of them, right? Mm-hmm. But collectively, you were dealing with what must have felt like looking up at Mount Everest.
Right.
How did you make it through? What? And I'm not sure if you've even reflected on this, if it was kind of just like, hey, I'm putting my head down and I'm just getting through this no matter what, or was there, what helped you? What got you through that? I'm sitting here and like, I'm feeling anxious just thinking about that situation that you went through.
So while dealing with Well, in everything, like I have a Christian background, so there's always that aspect of spirituality. In my more recent years, it's been more of a me trying to connect with God myself and not so much the building. So I know, like, I came up with the traditional going to church every Sunday, and this is what you're supposed to do, and this is how you're supposed to dress, and this is how you're supposed to act. And it's like, I don't think God gonna get mad at me if I say like damn or hell when I'm aggravated. And that's what I was raised to believe, though. Like, you got to be on this super straight and narrow path. And I'm kind of...
Don't you dare stumble.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Don't you be a human.
Right.
Well, that's the part. It's kind of like, it's that Mount Everest, right? When you're looking at it as, okay, you can't do anything wrong because he's going to be so mad at you. When you look at it that way, it's like, well, what am I even here for? When I started to come to terms with the fact that I'm looking at my life and I'm like, no, Mahni, God like legit still loves you and cares for you, because a lot of the stuff that you've been through could have taken you out, whether it was like mentally or situations that I put myself in with men where I was in a place where nobody knew where I was because I was sneaking. Like at 16, I was messing with a 24-year-old man. Nobody knew. My friends knew that I was dealing with him, but nobody knew where he lived. This is before everybody had cell phones.
Yeah.
You may have had a pager, but what is that going to do? You know what I mean? So there's literally situations where I put myself in that I could have lost my life. I could have been trafficked, not even trying to be dramatic, but it's coming more to light now, but that's been going on.
Yeah. That's reality. That's real shit.
You know, so when I look at the fact that I was raised super religious, I'm getting away from that, but I still base everything on the fact that I know there's a God up there that loves me tremendously, because what I've been through could have broken somebody else. And I hang on to that. Like, my pros outweigh all the cons. Like, I've always been taken care of. Like, case in point, when I had my son, there was a friend of the family. She had 4 sons, but her and her husband were like very well off. So she's like, oh, you're having a son? Cool. Here you go. Gave me all 4 of her sons' baby clothes. Shoes, clothes. When it's a few instances where I remember like specific things that happened. My baby shower, right when I got to the point of running out of diapers that were given to me for free, I still had no job after I was home with him for a year. As soon as I got to the end of those diapers that people had given me at my baby shower, I get a call. Oh, you've been accepted for the diaper bank. They just give you boxes and boxes and boxes every month of diapers until you no longer need them. Little things like that. It's like, some would say the universe. Like, for me, I say God. But whatever works for you, Allah, the universe, somebody is up there looking out for me and mine. And that's what kept me pushing. And then I have like a super strong support system. I was never physically on my own. Even though I'm sure you felt it, and I'm sure you felt it too, because we all go through it. Like, you've had periods where you feel alone.
Right.
But I've always like had people around.
Yeah, that remind me of my mom. Shout outs to Marie. But my mother like introduced, cause my mother's super Christian. Like, she go hard. You hear me?
Yeah.
And she would always say, like, I'm not introducing someone to religion. I'm introducing you to a relationship. You know what I'm saying, with God. And it wasn't until I got older, because I was always under this impression that she was religious. It's not till we got older we started having real conversations that it was, no, when I talk to people about God, it's about their relationship with God and how that benefits you and how that keeps you humble and all that good stuff, and gratitude and all that, and not just the structure of the church. Even so, she's a church-going person. She loves church. She loves the structure of it. She loves attending. My dad's a reverend, so it was 6 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my dad a reverend. So we was up in there like swimwear. You get me? But I always just had this impression that was just church and how the structure is. And if, like you said, if you wrong, then brimstone and fire. You know what I'm saying? But as we got older, it's that relationship. And I think how I really wanted to touch on that because I think that's important. You know what I mean? The relationship with God and how that conversation, because when you do feel alone, now when you have that outlet to talk to, that carries people through a lot. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So on this subject, right? It sounds like the incredible community support, a strength with God or power, however people feel comfortable wording it. I'm going to use God because that's what you're going with. A saying that really rings true, and I don't know if it's a biblical saying or anything like that, but the idea that faith without works is dead, right? God will move mountains, but you better bring a shovel.
Right.
That's in the Bible.
What was that shovel for you?
That's a really good question.
now, listen. While you're thinking about that, he's locked in. He's on fire today. He's locked in, so he's gonna come with it.
Oh shoot,
my boy.
What was my shovel?
That is a good question.
Right. Okay, so I don't know how to answer that. I know, like, for me, I never stopped believing that I could have more. So, okay, so when it came to work, for instance, I've kept a job. So from the time I didn't work for Justin's first year of his life, right? But then it was time to get over myself because I was like, I can't just take any type of job. So I go through a temp agency and I land a position. I'm an administrative assistant. It's decent. It allows me to get an apartment, get a car. Okay, cool. But I need more. And I say, all right, Monica, you can keep transferring from this school to that school to that school, but what are you going to do? You need to finish this degree. You had 1 year left. So I sucked it up and I said, all right, I'm going to go however long it takes. Get into Albertus's, whatever they called it.
Accelerator program?
Yes. I don't even remember anymore. So.
Yeah, because you did it.
Working, my 7.5 hours by day, going to pick up my baby, making sure he's okay, staying with mommy or something. And as he got older, he would come with me to some classes, and then doing what I had to do at night to graduate. I think God honors the fact that I don't give up. I complain. I cry. I'm a big crier. But I never stopped trying and just became the type of person and just say, oh my God, the world just keeps hitting me so hard. I don't know what else to do. Like there's always, I guess I just kept the faith in knowing like there's always something better out there. So I worked. And then another way I knew he didn't take his hand off me. So boom. I like when people say, okay, boom.
Me too.
So I'm working as administrative assistant, finish my degree. I graduate with my degree in May. Job opens up at the same company at the next tier up that you needed a degree for. They give it to me automatically in June of that very same year. Now I'm there and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Make a connection with Myrta. Myrta, listen. Myrta, if you listen, thank you.
Myrta. That's the homie.
I connected with Myrta outside of the agency that we ended up working for together. So I forgot how we crossed paths, but we did. She's another go-getter.
Yes.
So she's like,
amazing.
You want to do something different? At the time, I was living in New Haven off of Exit 8, driving all the way to the Valley, classes in another part of New Haven. It was just too much. So I wanted a job in New Haven. She lets me know, reaches out. She don't know me from a can of paint other than us just crossing paths every now and again. And she lets me know about an opening. I go for it. I get it. Cool. Things went downhill at that company. Personally, not professionally.
We talking
about Columbus.
Okay. I was going to say the name, but okay.
I got my stuff. Oh, well, edit that out. So I get to this building.
Ryan, I need you to swipe at whatever minute this is.
I get to this building and going back to my old ways. I want a man. Okay. I never messed with any of the clients that was served, but I had some run-ins and entanglements with staff, and it got ugly. But what was my point in telling this story? The point is
the shovel.
Yeah, my shovel is my will to keep moving. Because I could have stopped and said, okay, I got this administrative assistant job. I'm going to stay here until I can retire. I said, no, I wanted more. And it was important to me to show my son, Mommy started this and she finished, because I knew he was going to get older one day and I'm going to be like, you got to get out, go to college or go do something with yourself. And
Right.
somebody older than me once told me, actually, it was Tasha. Tasha had said.
Where's Tasha?
Tasha Nicole.
Tasha Nicole, outreach. Yeah.
She actually said, don't ask any more of the other person that you aren't able to bring to the table. So I apply that to my relationships, but I also apply it to my kids. Well, I can't make you go do something that I'm unable to do myself, you know? So finishing my degree was really, really, really important to me. But like, even when I got into where I am now I'm with Yale University and got into a role, wanted to move up. They said, oh, you don't have the credentials for this? Okay, cool. Let me go see what I have the credentials for then, because there's always more. And now I'm in a position. Can I talk about my current role?
Please do.
Okay, so now I am a program coordinator for the Office of Development and Leadership Giving, which is really, really long for just saying that I support the gift officers. So the people that collect all the beautiful funding that comes in, I'm one of the people that supports them. But the beauty in it is my new supervisor is a part of the task force to tackle diversifying the donors that come to the university, right, with their funding. So I'm going to be a part of helping him with that task force. So super, super, super exciting.
We need funding. Just put it on number out there.
They really take like diversity, equity, and inclusion. They take that very, very seriously. So I'm super excited to be at the university and to see it from the inside, like how serious they take it. Because growing up in New Haven, you feel like, oh, Yale's just here to take over, and it's like, no, they really do. Certain people really do want to bring you in and like show you what else is out there. You know what I mean? So I'm like really, really happy career-wise now. But wouldn't have gotten here if I didn't have my shovel. And I'm pretty sure my shovel is just my will to keep going and moving forward.
It sounds like vision is a big part of it as well. Truly. Oh. Right? Meaning I can't do what I can't see. And throughout that whole process, it sounded like there was a roadmap. Right?
It did? Because I was winging it.
And I'm sure it might feel like it was winging, but what I heard is, hey, I'm set on graduating college. I'm set on continuing to not settle for the current role I'm in and strive for the current role I want, even if I don't know what that is immediately.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I hope that I'm off all the time and shit I say. So if I am, you certainly don't have to by any means agree with what I'm saying.
No,
but I do.
No, I get what you're saying. It's faith sometimes is not even knowing how you're going to get there, when you're going to get there. Just know you're going to get there. Yeah. And if you know you're going to get there, that's faith. That's it. Like, and I know for me, like, actually with Winning Ways, when I was in prison and I was like saying I want to start a nonprofit, I was talking to my ex-girl at the time, my girlfriend at the time, and her family are African American, but from the suburbs where I'm not from. So I pull up to their house. They got this big old house, and I'm just like in awe. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, they done made it. I thought they was the Huxtables. You hear me? So in my mind, not understand how this work, I'm writing this, and I'm writing her letters like, yeah, I'm gonna have your father fund the whole nonprofit thing, and she's like, I don't think it works that way. But you know, through those letters, you know, we had the conversations of like, don't worry about how we gonna get there. Don't worry about how you gonna get there. Just know you're gonna get there. The being stuck on how, like, throw your whole game off. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How don't matter. Just knowing I'm gonna get there no matter what. Somehow, some way, we'll figure it out on the way. And that'd be the part where you wing it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it don't matter if you take the merit, if you take 95, 84. New York City is New York City. Right. It don't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. You know what I mean? So, I think that I be feeling like I still wing it when it comes to stuff, but we got a goal and we'll get there one day. You know what I mean?
That's it.
That's faith.
So in gathering the information up front for this interview, you used a term that I really, really like. And you said, I dated myself for a while. Can you fill me in on, I'm sure you weren't the one who coined that term, but I absolutely love it. And it's the first time I've heard it used.
Really?
Yeah. In that sense of like, hey, I'm assuming it's like, hey, I really got to know myself. I got to do some soul searching and some digging. But yeah, it was the first time I really heard it in that context.
Okay, so I said really like that because my friends and family have been telling me to date myself for like years now. So that's why I was surprised. But so my thing is, how can I expect a man to come in my life and make me feel great and know what to do if I don't even know what to do to make myself happy? So it's like, okay, Mahni, I had this really bad habit of I wouldn't watch a certain type of movie unless I was watching it with somebody else. I would only watch documentaries if I had somebody to sit there and talk to about it. I would only watch action films if I had somebody to lay next to me when I go to sleep, because I'll have nightmares about like being at war and stuff. It's weird. So I had to take myself out of that mode. And it's like, no, go get your popcorn, go get your Raisinets, and you're going to sit here, you're going to watch this movie, and you're going to like it because you do like these movies. I had to understand what genre of music I like. I have to understand like, I realized that I really like plants and I really like candles. That's not a dating myself part. But I just like started taking the time to just spend time with myself and figure out like, what can I do to make this time enjoyable?
That's a great way to love yourself.
Yeah, but I would never stop and do that.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know how to stop and do that. Like, where do you start when you're trying to date yourself?
The first night that I did it, and I remember because I put up a whole post about it because it was super exciting. I turned on some jazz and I was cooking spaghetti and I had my glass of wine and I lit my favorite vanilla scented candle. And I just sat there while I was like waiting for dinner to finish or whatever. But I like just sat in my kitchen and listened to the music and sipped on my wine by myself. It was just in my own little world. Could you do that on a date? Yep. So that's why I refer to it as dating myself. I'm sure it's way more romantic if you had somebody there sitting next to you. But just the other thing that I do, which is probably not healthy, I'll go to the bar by myself and like order a drink and order something to eat. At first, it felt super weird, but it's not that bad.
I'm the king of that.
Why? Just out of curiosity, why do you say that might be unhealthy?
Oh, the foods that I like.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I was going to say that I know, Kevin, I mean, you'll travel everywhere by yourself and do that. I certainly enjoy, whether it's going to a movie or doing something alone from time to time. It's an assuring experience, right?
Right.
It's a very, like, I went skiing by myself a few weeks back, and that was actually my first time doing something like that. And like, nice. I was nervous. I was like, how am I gonna? There's so many unknowns, so many variables, especially being in a chair, driving up to way up New Hampshire. But like the confidence that afforded me, right? And just the clarity and the time to sit back and really think and daydream, which is something like if I'm taking a road trip with someone, I'm not daydreaming, right? I'm locked into conversation. Yeah. But to be able to let my mind wander and just think, like it was a really a situation that in my mind was like, hey, this is going to be really scary, turned out to be really beautiful.
That is amazing. I didn't get to that level yet.
But I don't know if that's a level. I think that just happened to be the roll of the dice for me.
Yeah. It just happened to work out.
Well, it certainly wasn't intentional.
Right.
But that is amazing to me because I'm still working myself up. So I'll sit and watch a movie, like I said, and get my snacks and everything like I would if I had somebody there. But when I say dating myself, it's just those little things that I've always felt like I had to do with somebody else. I'm just going to do it alone and make sure I enjoy it. There's the self-care stuff like your hair, your nails. But I'm not that girl. Like, I can't sit still to get my nails done. I hate having to sit there. I love braids, but I hate having to sit and get them put in. So that for me isn't the self-care, self-care. There's not self-love. That's different.
So
my self-care is me now feeling totally comfortable going to the gym by myself. So I've like graduated. I make my videos and everything of me doing my workouts, and I do my little compilation videos so I can post them.
Doing your thing.
I never used to be that way though. I used to like try to find a reason to call somebody so I can have somebody on the phone with me. I used to call my little brother all the time, like, all right, I don't know how to use this machine, so talk to me so I can look like it's okay that I'm like ruining it right now. Because like I wouldn't know how to arrange the chair or how to put the weights on. And I've been working out with a personal trainer, so now she sends me with a list of things to do and all of that good stuff. And now I actually like going to the gym.
Dope.
I won't say it's relaxing, but it's kind of like that release that you need. Not that you're always angry, but I don't know. It's just like a good way to release everything. Like I'm pouring into myself because in the physical way by doing the workouts and everything, but then I'm also like trying to keep my mind in a peaceful place or whatever and stay focused. So,
And the reality is, if you don't exercise, you have never experienced your best self. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Nobody can even remotely, there's no statement that can be made to argue against that, right? Like, if you don't move your body, think about it. If you sat your car out for 3 years and didn't touch it, is it gonna run when you go to turn it on? What's like the first thing you're gonna need to do? You're gonna need to get an oil change, right? All the shit that yeah, right? And exercising, what are we doing? Well, we're increasing our heart rate. We're pumping new blood and oxygen throughout the body, right? We're giving ourselves oil changes. So I don't know about you, but if I don't exercise for a few days, like I feel it not only physically, but mentally. I have a cloud.
It starts to bother me mentally. I noticed that, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's such a vital skill that anyone can do.
And I like that because I was going to say before oil change, tune-up.
Well, that's it.
And
right?
that works for both the physical body and the body of a car. I like that. So, yeah. Once years ago, I haven't done this in a while, though. I actually hopped on the bus and went down to the Yale Art Gallery because that's been something that I've been wanting to do on a date and never had anybody take me. So I said, all right, well, take yourself. And it was super nice. And then I took myself to go get lunch and went home. So,
Dope.
Yeah, I need to do it more, but I'm getting better. I find myself now, though, especially in my new role, I need to educate myself in this world of development that I have no idea about. So I've been doing a lot of reading, which is also like super relaxing for me.
So there's a common theme that I've heard throughout this entire conversation, whether it was in your current position now, the incredible obstacles that you've had to overcome in your life, starting from the second you had consciousness, right?
Right.
But this central theme of giving back and helping others. Is that something that you're aware of? Is that something you give thought to? Is it conscious?
Yeah. So there's an organization that started in New Haven, but they're all over the state now, Ice the Beef. They brought me on board as one of their mentors for their Queens of Justice program. So we work with young ladies. Our youngest is 11, and we go as high as 17 years old. Not super structured in that this is what you got to talk about, this is what you have to do. I have the leeway to work their core elements, I guess, into how I deal with the young ladies that I support. They're super guarded, but we're working through it. But beautiful young ladies. And my thing is I'm very conscious of it because I'm super adamant about making sure our next generation, the ones that I can get to, don't make a lot of the mistakes that I've seen others make or that I've made myself. I think it's just so important to pour into them. They've got, I feel like, more against them coming up in this social media age.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like, yeah, I got teased, but I got teased at school and then maybe on the walk home. But then once I got to my block and I was with my friends and I was with my family, or when I got to church, Friday night was choir rehearsal. I loved that interaction. So it was like I still had my safe spaces. These babies coming up with this social media, you have one bad day, it's going to follow you probably for the rest of your life. It's going to be a meme. It's a post. It's a viral video. It might make it to World Star, YouTube, wherever they can put it.
All right.
And it's like, Jesus. So I feel like they just need to be poured into so much more. And then I named my own program for my daughter, Jade, not Jaded. I did a writing workshop. It was just 5 girls, my daughter being one of them. And I helped them to express themselves. I used the fruits of the Spirit from the Bible, but I presented it in such a way that anybody could benefit from it, because the fruits of the Spirit, they're just like super cool. Anybody, can relate. So, I had them write, what's a time that you felt extremely loved or that you were able to love on someone? And it got them to thinking about who's in their life or who they've been a blessing to. When's a time that you were able to be gentle with someone, a time that you showed that you were faithful, or, it was really cool to see what they came up with. So yeah, I am conscious about my efforts to reach others, especially the babies. I call them all babies.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what time you got?
We're getting there. I have my last question loaded up. But if you have any you got in the chamber.
Well, I had a question from earlier about conversations with Mahni G. I wanted to know what conversation or what topic, but I think you answered it with child support. Mama, I was curious, like, what topic or subject during your lives was like the most, like, I don't know,
Exciting,
yeah.
Oh, child support wasn't the most exciting.
Oh, no?
No, that was where I got the least amount of input, because people turned it into, well, how do you deal with it? Because they were too afraid to talk about it themselves.
Gotcha.
That's not exciting. Let's see. Oh, what was the topic that I had that people were like, oh, this is going to be a good one? Then they came out. I think it was the one, who plays the most games out of men and women. Because what happens is it's hard for me to remember, only because I remember my questions, but it always turns into something else. And then it gets all the way away from my original topic. But I want to say the night that we started with who plays the most games and things of that nature, it created real good dialogue between men and women, because some of the guys go sick in the comments. Like, they won't get on camera, but they will let us ladies know exactly how they feel about us. And I'm like, well, dang, tell me how you really feel.
So I'm assuming they said that women play more games.
Women play more games. There's a lot of comparison about who does what. So, like, it'll be somebody that'll say, like, men try to live off of women more, or women are too angry, or, like, it gets real personal, but not personal, because nobody's talking directly to the other people. Right. But you feel attacked at the same time.
Yeah.
But one thing I love about conversations is the fact that nobody ever gets disrespectful. I've never had to, like, cut anything off because somebody was screaming at somebody or somebody cursing somebody out.
When you have 5,000 people tuning in, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
Be ready. Hit that button on the trigger.
Yeah.
Finger on the trigger.
So I've been waiting because there was an instance where, and I go live tomorrow night and I'm going to remind everybody, but it's like, there was an instance where somebody went back and said something to my now ex-husband's new girlfriend. And like, oh, somebody said you were saying this, that, and the third. And I said, well, you can go back and watch it. Like, all the footage is there. So I don't my conversations hold me accountable. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Right.
if I say, we constantly change and evolve and all of that, but like, if I say my favorite color is pink and then you see me on the street and say, oh, I thought you said you like pink. And I'm like, no, I never said that. You can pull it up on my page.
Right.
Built-in accountability.
I don't anticipate running into anything crazy because I don't edit. Like, it's all there. As soon as I'm done going live, I end it. Do you want to share? Yes. It's right there. So that's the only thing that got kind of weird. But like I said, I was able to say, hey, it's all there. So like, go watch it. Here's my handle. I want you to watch it.
Right.
You know, because like my goal isn't to set out to offend anyone. But like I said earlier, it's my truth. So
Yeah, that's it.
I hope it doesn't offend. If it does, sorry, not sorry, kind of. I don't know.
No, that's exactly what it is. That's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
Truly.
So we have a final question that we'd like to ask everyone on the show. So the Falling Up podcast is all about sharing our experiences, overcoming obstacles, turning obstacles into opportunities. And you did a fantastic job of doing just that this evening. So our final question is, if you were to speak with someone who was in a really low spot and was stuck in life and didn't know that change was possible, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
And so I would say give yourself more credit. I stand by every day that you wake up, and I'm not saying this is original to me, but I do stand by it. Every day that we wake up, that's another opportunity to be great. And it sounds cliche, but it's really not, because there is somebody that died in their sleep. There is somebody that got hit by a car. There is somebody that shot up and they really didn't come out of it this time. So I think if you are in that low place, you got to take that seriously and give yourself more credit. Think about the good times, if there are any. If there's not, imagine the good times that you want to see and imagine how you're going to get there. And why I say give yourself more credit, I feel like a lot of times we allow people to try to give us advice or tell us which way to go. Be confident in your ability to make the best decisions for you. You're the one that has to live that life out at the end of the day. So you might be struggling now, but that doesn't have to happen always. Give yourself enough to know that you're intelligent enough to get out, you're brave enough to get out, and you can conquer whatever you set yourself up to do, I think.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate that answer. Can you tell everyone one more time where they can catch your show?
Oh, sure. So you want to follow, what is my name? I am Mahni, IAMMAHNI on Instagram. And I go live. I switch to Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. for Conversations with Mahni, but all my prior conversations are there on my page. So IAMMAHNI. I am Mahni on Instagram.
Everybody go over there, check it out, have some laughs, get some inspiration.
Yes.
And thanks everyone for listening in tonight.
Falling Up Podcast.